All right. We are back again. Another episode. Pioneers, Builders, Jacksonville, Florida. PB and Jax for short. To everybody watching and not listening, I put on my red and black today. There's a reason for that. We've got Troy McNair here, and Troy is the co-founder, co-creator of the Think Bold Festival and Conference. Colors are red, black, and white. So ran with the theme today and thought we'd chop it up and discuss everything about the conference, man. I'm excited to have you. Thanks for being on.
No, thanks for having me, Randall. And I screwed up because I didn't wear the right colors.
You got black on.
Yeah, it's all good. No, we appreciate you giving us this time.
No, of course.
To share with the community.
Yeah, I'm happy to do it, man. I think you and I are pretty well in sync on, our visions for what Jacksonville can be. And like you and like me, we have a handful of folks around town that are actually taking the right steps to make that happen. And so
Absolutely.
Excited to unpack that with you, man, and talk
Absolutely.
about this festival and how it's going to be better than the years before.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
We're excited about 2025. Things have been buttoning up pretty well. End of last year, going into this year. So the wind is just behind our backs. Sun is in our faces. So we're excited.
Yeah, it does seem like you have a lot of people that are now understanding what Think Bold is, that are behind you guys, just pushing you forward, just continuously lifting you guys up and getting some more shine on the brand. And rightfully so. I've kept it no secret that I'm a big believer in what you guys are doing, and I've wanted to be a part of it for a while. So I'm familiar with Think Bold. Probably a lot of people listening and watching that aren't familiar with Think Bold. Let's start there. What is it? What was it intended to do? What's the vision? What's the creation? Let's just unpack the beginning stages of Think Bold and what our thoughts and visions are around it.
Absolutely. Well, Mo, me and him both, we both were in the music industry. So let me tell you what Think Bold is. Think Bold is truly a platform for some of the boldest thinkers in the city of Jacksonville, and obviously some national ones. But it's really focused on the boldest thinkers in the city of Jacksonville, the boldest organizations, bold thoughts in all industries in our community. And, the idea came from, again, Maurice Henderson, Mo, and myself. We were both in the music industry for many years. He was at Sony and Warner Brothers in Nashville. I was at Def Jam in New York. And we used to go to conferences, music conferences. We would bring our artists to different conferences in the United States of America. And one of them that caught our eyes that we both would reminisce about was South by Southwest in Austin, Texas. And we just talked about how Austin, Texas was like a college town. I don't want to call it sleepy, but just say a college town. But if you go to Austin, it's on fire. It's crazy. It's amplified so much. And some of our theory is that South by South was a part of that transition from that community. And so as we look at the city of Jacksonville, this is pre-COVID. We were just looking at our city is emerging. We got all this hot stuff going on. Our downtown is starting to get all these doors now, all the builders, the Jacksonville Jaguars, they're spreading their footprint. And then the urban core is getting crazy and growing. What do we call it? The different size of towns is just continually growing. So we were like, wouldn't it be clever if we can do something similar to like a South by Southwest? Obviously not quite, but something similar. And for the city of Jacksonville. And that's how Think Bold came about. That was our thought process in the beginning. And as we move down the road, it's taking on some heat.
I would agree. It really has. It's all organic too. It's a lot of word of mouth. A lot of people are finding out about this because somebody went to it last year, or they know somebody that spoke at it last year, or they're starting to see the keynotes and the fireside chats and the vendors that are growing every year. This year is, the best one yet. So it seems like there's a lot of, word of mouth, organic growth around the Think Bold Festival and Conference, which you and I have spoken about, is very similar to how South by Southwest grew in its early stages as well.
Yeah, I mean, Randy, you're dead on it. I mean, the bottom line is, yes, we could have put tons of money and amplified it and got everything, the big buzz out there. But again, you just said the key thing, organic. And what we didn't want was a crash and burn. You know, we have this thing and it's amazing over a few years, and then it just fizzled out because it couldn't sustain our scale for a particular reason. So we wanted to make sure we didn't bite off more than we could chew. And we just said, you know, we have this 10-year, 20-year plan where we'll just continue to hit a benchmark. You know, we got our own KPIs going on, so we'll just, and some folks might be like, hey, you should do this, you should do this, da, 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 da. And we just sometimes look at some of that as distraction because we're like, okay, we want to do all that. We will do all that, but this is not the year we're going to do it. And so we're going to just stay focused, not get distracted. Year one, we're going to do this. Year two, we're going to do this. And then after, 10, 15 years, you're like, I remember when it was only this. And so that's where we're at.
Yeah. What is the 10 to 20 year vision? Is it South by Southwest? Is that what we're going for, is to get that kind of size, or do you have something else in mind?
Yeah, and again, South by Southwest is one of our mentor companies. So we always look and see, try to learn. But Jacksonville, the Bold City, has its own secret sauce. We have our thing, so, and I think we're focusing on what our thing is in our community, and we're paying attention to all the different stakeholders and what the goals are in our community. So I would say that, we're working to be that size, but, Jacksonville, Duval, the surrounding counties, it's got its own flair. It's got its own thing happening. And I think our goal is to monitor and work in those, stages of what our city is doing, what we got going on. We're excited about the Stadium of the Future, what's going on with the urban core. We're getting all the, I remember when, we didn't have any nightclubs and restaurants, mixologist type restaurants that had all the funky cocktails and stuff. And we have now restaurants, we have bars, we have rooftop restaurants, rooftop bars. We're growing with steakhouses. So the city has a lot going on, and we're popping. I mean, some people might think it's a little slow, but I mean, they have to build infrastructure. I mean, look at Emerald Trail. Look at JTA and what they're getting ready to do on Bay Street. So there's so much stuff. We're going to be bananas. And I think it's really us focusing on what our city mojo is and our gumbo.
Yeah.
And build from that and build with that versus looking at, I mean, obviously we're looking at other cities and we're paying attention to other conferences, but we also want to make sure it's genuine to the community and it fits and feels like our community.
Yeah. Would you say, two questions that came from my thought of what you just said. First question, pretty short and sweet. The Think Bold part, is Think Bold an ode to the bold city, or is it a mindset that you guys are trying to get your guests to adopt whenever they come in and listen to your speakers and see what you're about?
I definitely want to say it's a mindset, but I want to be so real, like, we're looking at the mindsets in our community, and the stakeholders and what their thoughts are. When we look at like Andra Wallace and what they're doing as an organization at Jax Partnerships, like, we're listening to what they're doing, what the companies that are moving into our city are doing, what some of their, visual thoughts, what some of their value propositions are. So like, even when we look at companies, we go to their value propositions, we're like, okay, oh, this is what they're talking about. Oh, this is what they want to do. This, da, 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 da. So we're really paying attention to what's coming into the city and what our city has already had a foundation on. And we're just building upon that and making some funky, cool stuff with it. With our flair, with our music flair, with what we've learned from the music industry, what we learned how to market in the music industry. So we're bringing some of that, but we're really focusing on what the foundation is and what that looks like as a whole, as a community, as a collaboration.
Of course. From timing though, South by Southwest, I think they timed it well. They didn't know it.
Yeah,
when they started it, it was the Austin, Texas that I'm from. It was the farm to market roads. It was the Keep Austin Weird. It was the festivals that were just for the locals, for the, you know, from a music perspective. And, you know, these guys just came in and started doing some TED Talk variety type conversations. They just wanted to discuss what was going on. Little did they know, not only would the festival become enormous, but Austin would be taking on Google, Facebook, Apple, Tesla, and bringing all these different people here, well, not here, but to Austin.
Mm-hmm.
And so they timed it well. You just mentioned we got a lot going on in Jacksonville. We're in the beginning stages. You know, there's a lot to roll out. We've got the new stadium build. We just have not gotten where we're breaking ground on that yet. Emerald Trail, the University of Florida grad campus that's coming downtown. Now that things are moving, we're feeling a little bit more progressive. Do you and Mo think you timed this thing appropriately?
Yes, you know, I think we were lucky. You know, so you know, we were very lucky. I think pre-COVID and in the COVID era, it gave everybody a reset. It gave everybody an opportunity to, like, okay, once we get out of this bubble, what's next? What we're gonna do? What we're gonna do here? And so I think it gave us all, you know, the business community, you know, your community in your own home, families, mother, father, children, whatever's got, you know, whatever you got going on. It gave everybody an opportunity to, okay, let's get ready to reboot. Let's get ready to get into this next phase. And what are we going to do? And how we're going to move forward. And I think that's what we were fortunate with the timing, as you said. We were able to say, okay, we got it. Because we were planning this pre-COVID. So I was like, okay, we can get back to the table and look at what the future looks like. And I got to say, I mean, you know, our city is kicking ass. Like, you know, again, it might look slow, you know, but, you know, we got some really fire starters out here in our city, the stakeholders, the chamber, the city, the different partnerships, different non-for-profits, they're kicking behind. You know, we're really doing some stuff out here. And I think slowly but surely people will see it. And we're fortunate with Think Bold to be a part of that. And we just want to make sure we're collaborating with all those folks that are looking to move our city forward.
Yeah, it is moving slow, but I don't mind slow. I'll tell you why. I saw Austin before the boom and after the boom. Well, they didn't properly put the infrastructure in place to accept the boom. So if you've ever driven in Austin, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. It is diabolical. It's every road in Austin, Texas is like driving on I-4 in rush hour. They grew entirely too fast. So I don't mind us moving slow as long as we're moving in a direction to be more progressive and modernize the city and the people in it and what those people are able to do in terms of building and growing and starting companies. So I'm with you. I think we are moving that direction. But I will say comfortably, I'm okay with us moving a little slower.
And actually, it makes sense based off of just what you just said. And I think that's what the city, in my opinion, is doing, because, you know, you look at the highways, you know, we're spreading these highways out. We got construction going on. You know, look at South Bank. South Bank is North Bank, South Bank. They're all moving. We're preparing the different roads, whether they're one way, whether they're two way now. So I think Jacksonville is doing it right, as far as what I see. I think they are getting the infrastructure in order. You know, when you look at people talking about, we got all these garages. Okay, well, you look at some cities that moved before that, they don't have any parking. You know, and now they're putting up garages. So, you know, let's make it make sense. So, you know, at least I think we're doing well with the infrastructure. I've been going to a lot of meetings downtown Vision, and a bunch of other organizations, and I'm listening to what's going on. You know, when you listen to Groundworks and all these different organizations, they're getting in front of it, because, as you just said, when the boom hits, when we start kicking behind, you know, we're sitting pretty. You know, I just drove by the new soccer stadium. You know, they're getting things organized here, and versus just plopping stuff and then, oh crap, we didn't figure this out. We didn't figure that out. So I think Jacksonville does a great job of getting the act together first, as much it might not seem that way, but they're doing it right in my opinion.
You and I are in alignment. We've been in alignment on a lot of this stuff, though. And one of the things you and I are in alignment on is, as great as the city's doing, it is kind of clicky. We have just like these different segments, and I think people hold on to those. We have the beach, the north side, Riverside, San Marco, downtown, south side, west side, Mandarin, and it's felt disjointed for a long time. And one of the things I think you guys are doing is you're trying to bring in a lot of representation from the speakers, from the different workshops through the fireside chats, where people feel compelled to come into one area and have these discussions. Was that important to you and Mo? Was that even on your radar? Was that something that you guys really wanted to emphasize as you were building out the conference?
Yeah, absolutely. Because when, again, I share with you, Mo, he was working in Nashville. I mean, look at Nashville now compared to Nashville in the 90s, right? And then myself working in Manhattan. If you think about any city, usually the city is actually the heartbeat, right? And then the vessels and the blood goes everywhere else, right? And so I think, and again, I'm not into construction and land development. So, but I believe we stretched so far that folks were just building here, building there, building wherever. But I think we got our mojo, and I think as the developers out there, as builders out there, I believe, I don't know, but it just seems like, you know what? Let's get our heart in order. Let's get this pumping right. Let's get this blood starting from the heart and get that going. And so I now see the different developers and the organizations like, okay, let's focus on the urban core. We're going to, let's get North Bank, South Bank. Let's get downtown. Let's get Bay Street, Forsyth. Let's get Ocean. Let's get all these arteries, this heart in order, so that blood can then go definitely, south side, the beaches and everywhere else. And I believe that was definitely what we saw. And that was why we were so focused on the urban core. But we were reaching out, as you just said, to different sides of towns and stakeholders in those areas, so we can all tie it in together and make one bold statement.
I love how you did that. One bold statement. You're a master marketer, man. That's great. I'm sure anybody who's thinking about this conference is thinking like, okay, you had this idea pre-COVID, you were going to create this thing. It's one thing to turn a thought into a reality. I'm curious how you guys went from idea to conception. So you went from, I'm going to make this conference, or I want to build out this conference. But what's step one, right? Or, you got to find a venue, and you got to find speakers. You got to find reasons to attract people in to come to it. I would walk us through the beginning stages. What was that like? You were like, hey, this is what we're going to do. But how'd you take the first step, and how'd you kind of organize it all?
Yeah, Mo and I, we both, we took some meetings in our city to different stakeholders and community leaders. And, we did a bunch of meet and greets just to get the vibe. And what we walked away after maybe a year of meet and greets is like, okay, well, a lot of folks want to do this, want to do that. They start some stuff, and then a few months later, you don't hear from them. A few months later, they started one year and then they quit, or, or they didn't have the wherewithal to continue, and, they didn't put their, war chest up to continue to grow and scale. So we got all the information of, yeah, right. We wrote down all our yeah, rights. And we analyzed the yeah, rights. And we're like, okay, this is what we won't do. This is what we got to get in front of. And so I remember talking to Miss Carrie Davis from Wealth Watchers. And she's like, yeah, when people have these type of things, the experience, is not up to speed. They come with paper plates and, for VIP, and, we just learned so much from these stakeholders. So Once we got all the rights, we said, okay, this is what we can't do, this is what we can't do, this is what we can't do. And so one of the things was, to give you a great example, was the Hyatt. The Hyatt is very expensive. When you go to do these type of events, it's some real dollars, heavy dollars.
Yeah.
And we could have showed some venues that were for free, or, but are some venues that, weren't to a particular level. But that was on our sheet. Like I said earlier, that was on that it's not gonna work sheet. So we budgeted ourselves to make sure folks, even though our pockets was hurting, we did things to make sure people knew that this was going to be a quality event. And we spent the money to make sure that it wasn't a right. So that the first few years is painful. I mean, it's still painful. But it was painful because we needed to make sure that we did it to a point where the stakeholders, community, folks were like, oh, okay, well, they know that they're putting their money where their mouth is. Okay. And so that I think that was the biggest thing that Mo and I had to digest, so we can get rid of that right. And going into year 3, I think a lot of it's still rights out there now. But I think going to this year, less rights than what it was prior. And we're constantly, even with our team, we're making sure that we give the best professional experience, the best experience for our attendees, and even when it comes to our partners. ViStar, my gosh, they stepped up so crazy. We can't thank them enough. ViStar, they took the chance the first year, and then they doubled down 2025. And so our goal is just to continue to give a great experience, have great partners, have great speakers, great, bold organizations, so we can let the community know. Because the last thing I'll say is this, Jacksonville Business Journal, the Daily Record, those are great publications. You know what's going on in the city from some of those publications. But guess what? Everybody that's not reading them. The beaches might not be reading them. North side, south side, they're not reading that. So they're not getting that information. And so there's a lot of great things happening in our city that's being very bold, that if you're not at the level of the stadium of the future, you're not going to hear about it. And so that's what Think Bold is trying to do, is making sure that we're a platform so all the bold things going on in the city of Jacksonville.
Yeah, I think you're doing a great job of it. Clearly, we're only in year 3. I think we need to remember that. We haven't even executed on the 3rd year. We were only 2 years in, really. Facts. So it's still a baby. It's still growing. We're still nurturing it. But the growth in 2.5 years, I don't know. Did you expect this? Did you think it would be more? Did you think it'd be less? Because I think it's gotten very popular among people I talk to. What are your thoughts?
Randall, one thing I'll give Mo a lot of credit, and then me a little bit of credit. Our heads are so in it, that we are not hearing the noise. And the biggest thing, like Public Enemy, the hip hop song and rap group on Def Jam, we're not believing the hype. We're just staying tunnel vision, making sure we're not distracted, and we're just really trying to focus on doing the work. And we're excited, that more people are hearing about. We're excited when a speaker that we didn't, great example here in the city of Jacksonville, Mark Lampin, president of the Jacksonville Jaguars. We were excited when he gave a thumbs up and that he would be willing to do a fireside chat and speak, and talk about Out East, stadium, 4 seasons, the partnership with the community out East to grow it and build that community up. Like, we were so sick, we were like happy. So, but we're still tunnel vision. We still got our heads down. We're just doing the work, and we applaud when folks decide to participate.
For people who think it's East Side, can you please clarify what Out East is? I think there's not enough people that know what that is.
Okay. Now, I'm going to be very honest. I'm going to give my best interpretation, because I do not want anybody out east saying he doesn't know what the hell he's talking about.
Yeah.
So I'm putting a disclaimer. I'm not saying I know it all or know it. We set our office up because we used to be on Laura.
Yep.
And what was it, Forsyth?
Forsyth, yeah.
Fair building.
The Visit
right
Jacksonville
above.
building, the Fair and Fair building, yeah.
Yeah, right. It's above. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jacks. So, and then we decided to move out east. So again, we could really be a part of what's going on and keep our nose to the ground. So out east, because when I first moved out here, I was saying, "Oh yeah, we're going to the east side." I got chewed out by some folks out east. I got chewed out. So I've now learned the term out east. It's not the east side. But anyway, this to me, this is an amazing community, great opportunity, especially with all the infrastructure is going on. Matter of fact, I was near Manifest, and I just see they're redoing the apartments that caught on fire, right?
Yeah, that's good.
I can't think of the name of them now. But anyway, out east is going to be amazing. And I believe from what I've heard, and I don't know, that the Jacksonville Jaguars and all their partnerships, and then there's different organizations in the city that's out east that's doing great jobs. I don't want to start saying names because I don't want to say them wrong, and I don't want to miss anyone. But they're growing the community. They're building the community where the community might have had some challenges. They're correcting that. And so, I remember before the Barkley came to Brooklyn. And so I remember that area in Brooklyn. And so to me, it's kind of similar. Like, so now we got the soccer stadium, we got the football stadium, we got all these different sports activities going on. We're going to have this luxury hotel, right? So they're getting the area and they're getting the community up to speed, for lack of better wording. And it's going to be thriving. Mm-hmm. And I'm proud to be over here, and I'm proud to see the growth in the community, and they're making this area beautiful.
I agree. I think I have no inside information or anything. I haven't taken this from anybody else. This is my own thought. But if they build that area up and they get the Four Seasons together, step one, I think that Daly's Place is the perfect place to do the NFL draft.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
You got the seating arrangements, you got the stage to do the announcements, and then you got the practice field behind you to host all the prospects and their families. To me, that would be a really big event for us as a city. I'm sure that Shad Khan, as the businessman he is, probably gearing up to get a Super Bowl here at some point. But we need places. Yeah, we need places for people to stay. We need things for people to do. So the fact that we're building up that ecosystem downtown and out east, wonderful. I mean, it's a really good sign that we're looking to do bigger things than just kind of lay in this legacy wasteland that Jacksonville's been for many, many years, right? It's been a city of potential for too long. So, all right, let's talk about. Yeah, I know it is. I'm very happy about it. I think at some point, what are your thoughts on this? At some point in the future, this could be 10 years from now, by the way, this doesn't have to be next year, but I think of an event like South by Southwest. I even think of an event like Comic-Con, where they come in and they announce things that are coming. Could you envision a world where we could get the mayor up there or like a city architect or a councilman up there and say, okay, like for 2025, or in this case, whenever it happens, 2032, we're going to build this, this, and this. We're going to break ground over off of San Jose where we build the brand new this. We're going to build a brand new innovative tech center. We're going to build a new Capital factory downtown, whatever it is, like the announcements for the year. Like, hey, this is kind of the cool, bold stuff we're doing in 2029 or whatever it is. Could you see it getting there?
Yeah, and here's the funny thing, Randall. They do some of that. I'm at that, I know Downtown Vision, they do like a State of the Union, for lack of better wording. I can't remember the name of the title. But the challenge is that the whole community doesn't know that this is being shared, because it is an ecosystem of its own that's in the urban core, that's, the different stakeholders and council folks and everybody, they know what's going on. They're talking and they see the promise. I think the challenge is it's not being translated to the different sides of town. And I think that's the goal with Think Bold. You know, look at us as a storytelling device. You know, we're just here helping translate information to the whole community, bold information to the whole community, and not be stuck in the, you know, you have your ecosystem, I have my ecosystem, I have my ecosystem, and it's only circulating, the information is only circulating in those ecosystems. So I think Bold will be that storytelling device where it translates this boldness that's going on and stuff that we're kicking behind on.
So long term, as it grows, like let's say it becomes where every part of town knows about it, just like everybody in Austin knows South by Southwest is coming. They might choose not to go, but they know when it is. When we get it to that point, we grow it to that point, you could see a world in which we're doing like Marvel does at Comic-Con, where they're like, we're going to release Iron Man 16 at the next. Yeah. So I think that's great, man. I think it's a really unique, fun, good way to get the community rallying behind some of the projects that are taking place that they very clearly have no idea about. So I love that that's part of the vision.
Yes. And just like talking to you, and we've learned so much with you, and we're having these great conversations. You know, Think Bold has to be a collaborative effort and a partnership with bold thinkers and bold movers. So at the end of the day, it's not about Maurice Henderson and Troy McNair. It's about everybody that we're collaborating with and partnering with. So this is a united front to move this forward. So, you know, I always try to share when I'm in meetings, as I share with you, we don't have all the ideas. We're not the smartest people in the room, but we know how to get those smart people in the room. We know how to have these conversations. But it's truly about collaboration and partnership. So Think Bold can only be like a South by Southwest when we have a bunch of smart folks in the room, a bunch of collaborative efforts, a bunch of partnerships. We can all share the steering wheel. We understand where we're going. We have that GPS system and that navigation system taking us. So, you know, our thought process for Mo and myself is Think Bold is a community. Like South by Southwest, you don't even know who the heck started South by Southwest.
No.
No one's talking about that.
Nobody knows about it.
Right? I give a shit about that, right? So that's our goal. Like, it's not about Mo, it's not about Troy. We want to get it to the point where you're just talking Think Bold and what it's doing as a platform in our city to continue bold information. It needs to get to a point where you don't even know the founder. You don't even care about that. You want to know about your piece that you're bringing to the table that's supporting our city and helping the growth. And that's our goal. Because Mo and I, we're not, you know, even this is kind of off balance, you know, we're not out there to want to talk. We're not shy. Trust, we're not shy, but hobnobbing and all that kind of stuff is not our thing. You know, one thing at Def Jam, my old boss was Leor Cohen, and he would always tell me at Def Jam, listen, Troy, we don't bath in our success, we don't bath in our growth. You stay focused, put those visions on, and you grow your artist. It's all about the artist. If you're on the scene and people know you, then that's a problem. It's all about our artists. It's all about our product. So for Mo and I, it's all about Think Bold. It's all about our city. We know we'll be successful when you're like, I don't even know who else started this thing. I don't know, but it's a great thing. But I don't know who started it. That's when you know, and that's when we know that we've hit a point where there's some real excitement.
Okay. I love it. I mean, I'm going to do everything I can to make sure everybody knows your name, but maybe it grows to the point where nobody's going to listen to what I have to say anyway. Yeah. So
just be Think Bold.
Yeah, just be Think Bold. Well, let's get people excited about this year. We know about one keynote. We got Mark Lamping. We got the president of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Really hoping personally that he pulls a Liam Cohen and says Duval weird. Duval,
you know, it was so unfair to him. I don't know if anybody prepped him. I don't know if anybody prepped him on how you say it versus he probably just read it on a sheet of paper. So it was unfair. Whoever prepped him, it was unfair.
I'm so happy he's here, and I want to make that a solid point because I've made fun of the Duval thing in a couple of episodes now, and at some point I think somebody's gonna catch wind that people are really making fun of him. But I'm happy he's here. But man, when he just was like, to Jacksonville, to the community, and then he leaned his head and had this like weird smile, and he's like, Duval. I was like, dude, come on, man.
Well, speaking of that, Lil Duval actually posted a snippet of that. That guy's a comedian himself and a great entertainer. But
yeah,
he's coming. He's actually coming. Coming.
So Mark Lamping, Lil Duval, the comedian, the most famous person to go outside of this city and make sure everybody knows what it is. Man, I give him all the credit in the world for never stop talking about Jacksonville, no matter where he goes. So we got Lil Duval, Mark Lamping. Who else we got?
So you got Nat Ford, Senior, CEO of JTA.
Is he going to talk about some of the projects that JTA's done? They've done, dude. They've been out of control.
Man, they kicking behind.
They've been out of control. Is he going to come in and talk about some of the autonomous vehicle stuff and the new rail systems and stuff like that they've been working on? Is that part of the plan?
Absolutely. And they have a huge partnership with Emerald Trail, with Groundworks. Last year we had Groundworks come out and talk a little bit about Emerald Trail, but, so they have a huge collaboration together. Pinky Cole Hayes, the CEO and founder of Slutty Vegan Restaurants and Chains. I mean, she's already at $100 million valuation. Sick. So she took that whole vegan thing to a whole another level. So we're excited about her because, I mean, think about it. Jacksonville is becoming a culinary experience here. We're starting to have some real authentic restaurants, whether it's Indian, Mexican, you name it, West India, and I can go on and on. So we're really French. We're really becoming a foodie destination.
Yeah, well, we're diverse, which is great. Or at least we're working on it. With the Pinky Hayes thing, she's not a Jacksonvillian, but she's an entrepreneur. And we're going to talk about this here in a second. We expect entrepreneurs to be at this event. So when she comes in and talks about, like, this is how I grew my business, this is how I became a $100 million brand, stuff like that. Is she coming and talking about how, talking about the evolution of Jacksonville, Florida? Maybe not. But is she going to come in here and teach you how to properly brand yourself and make money and stuff like that? Absolutely.
Absolutely.
What are your thoughts? I mean, is that kind of one of the reasons you decided to reach out to her specifically?
Yeah, absolutely. Because we have so many entrepreneurs in our city. I mean, small business is obviously what moves the United States of America, right? And so if you can hear from a person who started with zero, with nothing, from a challenging city, and for her to reach the hill that she's reached, that's inspiring to get some nuggets from her. How she built the business, how she scaled, how when she had capital issues, how did she get past that?
Yeah, overcome it.
With VCs, with its loans, whatever it may be. So to me, any small business owner in the city of Jacksonville needs to come and listen to folks like her because she started with zero in one of the challenging communities in the United States of America. And she's basically saying, if I could do it, and this is how I did it, I'm pretty much sure she's got some great nuggets. So any entrepreneur needs to be, and someone who wants to be even in that space. You don't even have to be in that restaurant space, but because all business is pretty much the same, core fundamental thoughts. So that's one of the main reasons why we wanted to bring her to Jacksonville to Think Bold.
Yeah.
And then we also have, we're looking for Jim Stalling, right? And we can't thank you enough for, first of all, being on their boards. Congratulations.
Thank you.
But for championing that opportunity. I mean, but let's look at Jim. Let's look at PS27. Come on.
Yeah, it's unreal.
Come on. If you're a business owner and you're trying to figure out capital,
he'll be in the room.
He's in the room. What the heck? Everybody out here is talking about capital. I can't figure it out. And they might not be able to get a traditional loan. Money is in the room at Think Bold.
Yeah, he won't be the only one either.
No,
he won't. There's gonna be a lot of people. You don't know whose hand you're gonna shake.
Some cat. It's gonna be those. So, but that's. So again, growing a business, or if you're even thinking about maybe starting a business, and you're just on the fence, and not only about being inspired, but you really want to hear some real jewels. One of my, and I'm going to date myself, one of my favorite movies when I was a kid was Rodney Dangerfield, Back to School.
Okay. That's a little while ago.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, my bad.
It's all right. So you watch.
You look young. Find it on Netflix or Amazon or something. Watch it. It was basically, he's a multi-millionaire, he's a businessman. And he was basically saying that schools are not going to teach you if your building wasn't right for zoning and this wasn't right for the fire department and this particular code right here is not. You're learning the fundamentals in school, but you're not going to really grab every single thing to start a business and those challenges that you will have to start a business, right? And so this is when you're going to be in a room with all those type of folks, and you can now get information on some of the stuff that's not in the textbook. To me, that's the secret sauce right there. I'm with you.
Yeah.
Couple of nuggets about the PS27 front. For anybody who thinks, and I'm not putting this on Jim, I'm talking about every single person that might have capital in the room. It's a story that you should hear. Jim Stallings, whenever he decided to make his first investment, that first investment was in an ice cream company. And I'm fairly certain that the ice cream company was like a vegan ice cream company. It was like something that had a little twist on it. And Jim was like, nah, vegan ice cream tastes like crap. And the guy goes, just try it. And so he brought Jim some ice cream, and Jim tried it, and he tasted it. He said, man, this is good. And he invested. And so it doesn't have to be like a tech startup. It doesn't have to be an app that you built. It literally can be anything. Just go in, shake hands with everybody you can, introduce yourself, and tell them your story. Who knows what's going to come of it? Give yourself a shot. And I'll give you I have two other stories. I just think people need to hear them. In 2023, PS27, this is way before I was ever on the board, did an event in conjunction with another private equity style company here based in Florida. And they hosted it at the news station building that's downtown across from the stadium. And it was called like it was like Demos Day. It was like a Shark Tank type event. They had 5 or 6 companies come up there, tell their story, where they're at, where they're looking to go, what they would do with the money. And everybody voted and somebody won, and then they got to move on to the state final and pitch their business. And I think the prize was $250,000 for that. The reason I'm telling that story is somebody who didn't pitch at all was in the crowd, networked their way through the room, found a couple of people who were investors by trade, didn't know it, told their story about their company, walked out of the room with $500,000 in Jacksonville, in the news station building, during an event that they had no part of. They weren't pitching their company on stage, nothing. They never touched a microphone that night, and they walked out with the most amount of money out of anybody in the room. And so I say that, like, get to Think Bold, put your hand out, start shaking every hand in the room, and tell your story. The other story I wanted to mention, because I just interviewed her, and I think she spoke at Think Bold last year, was Sonia Morales Marchicelli.
Yes, she did.
Dude, you want to talk about building something from nothing? We're talking about Pinky Coles Hayes. She built a security company in the pandemic from nothing.
He's serious.
Nothing. She had nothing. And she didn't know anything about security. She was doing two-way radios. Now her company is, I think, teetering on the edge of having to graduate from the JSEB program because the revenue is too high.
She's heavy.
She's heavy. She's and she's nice, but she doesn't take any shit either. But my thing is like, we can hear these stories all day, but the one thing that they all have in common was they didn't wish for it to happen. They did, but they did something about it. They went and shook hands. They introduced themselves. They talked to people in the room that may or may not have capital, may or may not put you in touch with somebody that has capital, but they just kept pounding on doors until one of them opened. So I'm thrilled Jim's coming. You know, and Jim's going to do a fireside chat with you guys for an hour. I know that we've got a fun guest that's going up there with him, Mr. Jordan Walker.
Yeah, Jordan is brilliant, 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 brilliant. You know, I'm excited. I'm excited just to sit and listen to him because the conversations that we had thus far, I mean, he's knocked on 200 or 300 doors.
Every day.
No, 300 doors. So you're telling me you knocked on 2 doors and now you quit?
Yeah.
Knock it off. That's not how this works.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you, man. So I met Jordan the night of that at the news station building that night. That's how when Jordan and I met and we became friends. And obviously, you know, I've been able to put you guys in touch and it's been wonderful. But Jordan's story is fun. He's a Jacksonville local. He's a Jacksonville original. He's the kind of guy that's building companies and raising money and raising capital. He's gone through it. He's going to be in the building. So for those of you who are trying to raise capital and you're like, I don't know how to do this, Jordan Walker's going to be in the room. He's done it twice. He's got 2 very successful companies that were once startups, and everybody needs to listen to what he has to say and what Jim has to say. I mean, between the 2 of them, you're going to get both sides of the fence. Jim's going to tell you the investment side. Jordan's going to be the one on the receiving end of the investment. It's going to give you both sides of this. So I think I've been tuning your guys' horn the whole time, but now that as we're building closer to other things, right, we've got these keynotes. I think we missed one.
Don't you like Brett Barish? He's, you know, so what got us excited when we listened to his story. So he's the founder, CEO of Bel Air Champagne, Decon Whiskey, Bamboo Rum. And before I get into him, you know, last year we had Fawn Weaver, who was the CEO and founder of Uncle Nears, where she hit $1 billion valuation, excuse me. And so we started learning about that industry. You know, so it was a fluke, and we were really learning about the industry and the ins and outs, and you know, logistics, whether it's bottle making, corpse making, I don't care what it is. It's just so much going on, right?
Yep.
And so, as we were studying and courting her to come to Jacksonville, we bumped into Brett, and I don't know if you know about Ace of Spades Champagne and Douce Cognac for Jay-Z. But Brett made that for Jay-Z. And we were like, holy moly, hold up. And so we learned so much. And so he's coming. And, you know, folks say, well, I don't want to start a spirit company or anything. You might not, and that's okay. But it's so much in that ecosystem, whether it's trucking, whether it's logistics, or again, making bottles, making labels. There's millions of dollars in the business, and you don't even have to touch the particular product. You know, when you walk into your local spirit location, they got collateral material hanging up, marketing a particular brand. It's bottles, it's labels, it's the boxes and that has to bring the beverages in the store, the trucking, the forklift. There's so much, you know, we get caught into the thing instead of looking at the things surrounding the thing. You know, and so there's just so many opportunities when it comes to that. But so we're excited about Brett also coming.
Yeah, man. Listen, anybody that doesn't think like, oh, well, you know, I'm not going to start a beverage company, or I'm not going to start a vegan company, or I'm not going to be the president of an NFL franchise. That's not the point. The point is like, we'll take the NFL franchise thing. There's only 32 presidents that exist. You know, it's the hyper competitive nature of getting one of those jobs means you had to do things that other people just weren't doing. If you want to take a vegan company and become a 9-figure brand, you got to do things that other people aren't going to do. So come in and hear about those things and inspire yourself to build something that's something that other people will not do. So,
and the other case, I'm glad you said that, because the other thing is one of our pillars is also workforce development, right? So as you were just talking about marking the stadium, I mean, concession stands, the person who puts the lines on the football stadium, the DJ that's playing the
Yeah.
music, people that fix the seats if the seats break. Like, there's just so much workforce opportunity when it comes to all these things. We just got to step back and dissect it and decode what those opportunities look like. And it doesn't matter if it's traditional or non-traditional. Those opportunities exist. It doesn't matter if you're college educated or you're not. There's a lot of positions in all these arenas that we just spoke about.
Yes. To piggyback on your point, because I'm gonna chop this into a clip and post it. It just has to happen. In regards to the stadium of the future, Gregory Grant, the director of JSEB, was the second guest I had on this show. And what we learned in that interview is 20% of all Jacksonville eligible contracts that go into the stadium have to go to JSEB. 1/5.
It's huge.
And so what you were just talking about, and I don't think people understand what that means. If you own a parking lot striping company, if you own a porter potty business, if you do electrical wiring, if you do plumbing, if you do any level of construction, if you do like rock building or like cinder block building, you have a 20% of that revenue or that money has to go to you. It has to. Like it's in the contract. So, we want to talk about workforce development. I'm really hoping that we're able to make Greg happen at Think Bold. I think he would be a great
No,
speaker.
he's happened. It's done. I
It's done.
apologize. Oh, it is just so much.
When did this happen? When did y'all book this?
So we chatted with Gregory over a year.
Yeah.
But maybe 2 weeks ago, we had another conversation. So I think not this past month. Well, today's
Today's
I don't know,
Saturday.
maybe about a week ago.
Okay.
Green light. So yeah, the whole JSAP. Oh, we're excited about that. And
Yeah. So hot off the press, we got Greg Grant speaking at Think Bold. So just to make sure I've got this right, man, we've got 5 incredible keynotes. We've got Jim Stallings, we've got Jordan Walker, we've got Gregory Grant. We've got didn't you have like Wealth Watchers as a part of this too?
Yeah,
like what else we got going on?
Wealth Watchers, oh my gosh, the work that they do in our community when it comes to affordable housing, when it comes to, they have this program, and I'm gonna screw it up, so I'm not gonna say it because I'm gonna screw it up.
No.
I'm gonna screw it up. I don't think it's crop. They have multiple programs and innovation things that they're doing. But this one program, they're teaching young people how to build, like construction building, like putting houses up. And they got this van and they're picking up these young people, and these people got tool belts on, they got drills, I'm like, what the heck? They got their boots on and they're building. And so they have this program that is showing young people about different trades. So again, if maybe higher education might not be a person's bag, here's a trade. And oh my gosh, when you see these young people come out this van with their construction stuff on and they're building all kind of stuff, and they got they got all kind of stuff happening, and the Wealth Watchers does a huge amount of programming there. And they've been very supportive. Carrie and Al, they've been very supportive since day one. They've actually saw the vision, like just talking to you about it. But yeah, and then we got Nico. His company's out there at the beach. They do all these entertainment and festival type behind the scenes, like producing them. Like they got a whole panel and speakers are coming. We got some platinum artists. We can't drop their names yet. They're coming because we have a student hub. We have a Think Bold All Access entertainment room for high school students where they're gonna run an entertainment company. So they're gonna, from marketing to content creating to developing a concert to radio programming to producing music. There even will be a section for reception so they can learn how to articulate, how to talk, how to welcome somebody into a building, how to answer a phone. That's all going to be at Think Bold. And that's going to be in a whole nother area for them.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Crazy.
Selfish. Yeah, and selfishly too. There's going to be a green room, and all the keynotes are going to be in the green room, and they're going to come out and they're going to speak. Some of them are going to have an hour to speak. Some of them are going to be a presentation. Some of them are going to do fireside chats or whatever. But you're going to hear what they have to say and hear their stories, and you're like, that's awesome. But then what they don't know is now there's going to be content from an interview that's done backstage where they talk about what Think Bold means to them, what Jacksonville, Florida means to them. Why is it important for you to come share your message? And so Think Bold isn't just going to be April 12th and 13th. Think Bold's going to be
11 and 12. 11 and 12.
11th and 12th. Thank you.
Sorry.
It's going to be weeks and months beyond that, because you're going to continue to hear from the speakers because of what we're doing backstage to continue to share their message. So we got a lot going on.
It's going to be packed. And then the other big thing, a week before Think Bold, it's the Think Bold Honors, which is April 3rd, which is going to be an amazing event. It's presented by ViStar, where we're going to honor 10 individuals in the city of Jacksonville. And so we're excited. We're getting that. And this is the sick part. Mont Blanc is our partner. Mont Blanc is custom making. I gotta say it right. They're not ink pens. Writing instruments. Mont Blanc is designing and custom making Think Bold writing instruments along with the person's name on it. I seen the prototype.
So what's the event? I mean, is it a public event? Is it a private event? Like, I know it's we think it's sick. I'm kind of in the dark on this.
Yeah, this just happened too. So it is a public event, but it's limited seating. So you already know. But
where's it taking place?
It's going to be at ViStar on the 23rd floor. It's actually going to be a reception in the lobby. So we're going to have some good music, a little salsa, a little merengue, a little R&B and jazz and soft rock. And then we're going to have heavy pasta hors d'oeuvres, open bar.
Ooh.
I got to get in touch with my guy, JD at Brackish. He's always been supportive. Uncle Nearest is going to be there. The Blase is going to be in the building. So we always got to make sure our local spirits companies are involved all the time. But open bar, nice event downstairs. Then they go upstairs to the third floor, the top floor of the ViStar. And then it's going to be a beautiful night. So that's going to be, so it's a week before Think Bold. So yeah, we're excited about that.
Yeah. I know, I understand we're over time, and I'm okay with that. But we've got mixers. I want to talk about the mixers so people can show up to those. Can you announce a couple of them, what the dates are, where they're going to be, so we can make sure we include it in the show notes?
Yeah, so this is a Tuesday, February 11th at Serenity at the beach. We have a huge real estate mixer. So builders, investors, agents, yada, yada, yada. So we're going to have a real nice mixer there. It's right towards the beach. I can't think of the address now, but I can give it to you.
Yeah, and then, we'll get that figured out.
The following week is Koji, and I hope I'm pronouncing it right. It's a fit club. And so, a lot of people you guys always do mixers at bar and grill type places. All right, we'll bring it behind to this next one, which is in the third week in February, because it's all about gym. Have your sneakers, have your workout gear, because we're going to be doing some exercise. And he's the owner of that location, and he's going to make sure we get our aerobics, get our gym on. And so I said Koji's Fit Club, and so I'll make sure we get the address of that too.
Yeah. So we're going to exercise bold is what you're saying.
Exercise bold is bold fit, health and wealth, right? So we're gonna get out there and do a little something. I'm going to try my best to hang in there as much as I can before I start sitting down. I have to take a water break.
Get some Uncle Nearest.
After
the fact.
So we're trying, and then we'll be doing these things year round, because we don't want the message to stop during Think Bold Festival and Conference. We want to continue. But we want to continue in an engaging way. And as I told you, For us, Think Bold, we're like a storytelling device. So we just want to make sure that we continue to tell the stories and amplify what's being bold in our community and collaborate with those organizations. And listen, we don't want anything from these individuals also. We just want to make sure that folks know what's going on in our community.
Yeah, 100%. Well, kind of an announcement. I made it on LinkedIn, but this episode and every episode moving forward up until the festival, the Think Bold logo will be firmly planted on
we can't thank enough. We can't
all
thank
content. Yes, sir. You're very welcome. I'm so happy to be a part of this. And I'm also going to be at Think Bold, obviously, but I will be
official podcast, official radio, however, whatever the language is
yeah. I'll be the one interviewing all of our speakers and our guests, and obviously Troy and Mo along the way. And thank you guys for letting me take part in that capacity, man. I'm so jacked up about it.
We can't thank you enough, and we're excited. And as we built this relationship, it's truly about just collaboration and everybody figuring out what's the best fit for them. And we move as a unit.
100%, man. Well, whatever I can do moving forward to help you guys, let me know. I know I have a community of people who listen to this that are going to be very excited to be there. I know that the guest list is growing. I know we can't talk about.
So we don't have it all right now, but Think Bold Technologies, AI startup where we're developing an incredible platform for workforce development. It'd be along the lines of, if you went to, as you said earlier, going to an NFL or NBA draft or Major League Baseball draft, it's going to be sick. So we've been working on this sucker for like 2 years, and we're getting into a prototype level, and we're excited. So Think Bold Technologies, we're in the tech space, and hey, we're just having fun. Well, thank you for allowing us to share this. Thank you for partnering with us. And, we're again, it's all about, this community. We're getting ready to kick some ass out here in the city of Jacksonville. And a lot of cities are going to take note from the city of Jacksonville. So I can't thank you enough, Randall. And then we'll just pick it back up. Sure. The Think Bold website, thinkboldfest.com. And it's always being updated weekly with new information. So that's the start, that's the end right there. And, we really hope everyone comes out. If nothing more, to be in the room. Here's a funny thing before you let me go. Where do you go that all these type of folks, decision makers, top tier management, stakeholders, community city leaders, that are in one room? They're just in one room. It's not happening, everybody. So we just hope everybody comes out and support yourself. It's not about supporting Think Bold. Support yourself and what you want to do in life, and have that grit on what you want to do in life, and just be in the room, and do something for yourself. A lot of people say, no, support yourself. Do something for self. And because there's going to be a lot of opportunity in the room. And these folks are waiting. And they're open. Yep, absolutely. See what happens. Shoot, I don't know. Mo's into all that stuff. But yeah, that's good enough right there. But definitely thinkboldfest.com. We are IG, Think Bold Fest, Facebook, Think Bold Fest. But those are your major platforms that you can find anything and everything. Thank you. Listen, appreciate you, Randall. Have a great day. Thank you, sir.